There we go. And it looks like we are now live. Hey, everybody out there in Facebook land, welcome to the webinar. We're a little bit late. We had a little technical difficulty, actually a little traveling difficulty, but we managed to get that straightened out. Huge thanks to Rob for getting things together for us. And in any event, welcome to the live webinar. I've already kind of prefaced this with a lot of the folks that are in the room already. What we're doing tonight is we're going to walk through two functions or two options in the tools menu. And they're not really hard concepts, but something interesting that many people may not have known about, or maybe this is something that you get to see for the first time. But we're going to talk about the export models and export effects functions that are built into xLights. Now, the reason we use these is because there is a lot of data filled inside of your models that really kind of tells a story about your prop or your display or whatever. You're able to get some information. There's a lot of really interesting information out of it. And the same thing with the export effects. So I want to walk you through this and kind of give you kind of heads up to help you as you progress through xLights and using xLights and some of the things that you might pick up along the way whenever you use these two functions that you're going to see as we start right now. Excuse me. So that being said, let's go ahead. I am currently using one of our a friend of mine's layout. He's been in the hobby since 2015. I've already prefaced this with the people in the room, but what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go through his layout. His layout's pretty stable and solid. He's used it for probably 3 years now, I think, and so what I want to show you is what do these two functions do? So we'll go right straight away. We're going to go to export models. Now this will show up. Now you can see I already did one earlier tonight, a couple minutes ago, but I wanted to make sure that it would definitely work. So with that being said, I already have an export models. I'm gonna put export models. I'm gonna call this live, so we know the difference between the two. And this is in his folder. This is his show folder. I'm just gonna pop over to his show folder. And in his show folder, you'll see all of his sequences, his FSEQ files, and so forth. And now you see this export models live. I'm going to go ahead and double click on this, and it's going to open up that CSV file. Is it CSV? I never remember. CSV, CVS, I don't know. It says Excel, so I'm good. But let's have a look at some of the information that will be rather helpful if you're trying to figure out whether you've got things kind of set up. Now, some people might say this is a little bit more antiquated than what we're used to using in 2022, 2023-ish time period, but there's still plenty of information in here. I think it's very helpful for you to kind of see. First, what you'll see is that it breaks down pretty much all of your props in alphabetical order. So however you've named your models, those models are all going to be named in, listed in an alphabetical order. So that's the first thing that they're sorted by. Next, what they'll show is if this model happens to be a shadow model. Now, if you don't know what a shadow model is, the real quick answer to what a shadow model is using a second model to act as a model that exists in the display that you either program to or you can use as an upload item. So a shadow model is useful if you have a prop that you want to sequence in different manners and you want one version and versus a second version, and you can have it displayed on one prop, but you can sequence on the shadow model so it looks a little differently. So it gives you a different render, we'll say. So if a model was a shadow model, one that you would sequence on or one that you're uploading to, you could see that it would be linked with shadow model. Description, if there's a description of the prop or of the model that would show up in this aisle here or in this column here. Then you have display as. So when we talk about a display as, what it's basically saying is what model physically are we using? So in this instance, these are arches. Now you can see that because if we come over here and we scroll up and we see, oh, look, there's arches and has the little arch model icon. I'll move this out of the way. Not that you need to see more of it, but you can see that these are the names. They're the exact names that are set up here. And then you can also see that you have other things too. You have custom models. So these are all the custom models, that, well, not all, but a number of them. And it happens to be called B10, B11, B12, 13, B5, 6, 7, 7, B8, and B9. So these are all custom models. They're custom models that are created using the custom model dialog. You can come over here and verify that. Look at the model data, and this was a very simple way to create for an AC single channel prop a simple basic model that would easily work with xLights. So you have that there, and it portrays very nicely as the nativity scene there. This is all for him. That's an AC prop. So that's another thing that we can get into when we look across here. We can see string count. We have one string. This is one string here. There's some other models here, matrix left and matrix right. Look, it shows the number of strings coming from the controller out to the prop. That's how many times it connects to the controller. So whenever you pull your prop out, hey, do I have the prop with the 3 strings or the 4 strings? Okay, well, I've got matrix, matrix left has 4, so I'll put that over there. Maybe matrix, top has 3. So you can help that. That can help to solve with your situation if you're looking for the number of outputs as far as those models go. Next, you have a node count. Now, I will be honest, in our example tonight, we are using some AC channels. We're not accounting for the number of bulbs that are in the AC, although we can quickly determine by looking at them the node count, that node count is 10. So if we wanted to count our pixels up, so to speak, we could utilize this node count column. So this is one of the big questions that a lot of people will ask. How many pixels are in your show? Well, this is the way to figure out how many pixels are in your show. If you do a model export, then you're able to utilize the pixel count that's in this specific file. And you can see here, we'll scroll down to the bottom. Well, it used to be, at least I thought it used to be. Yeah, well, one of the old outputs used to say it down at the bottom, but it's very easy to do this. If you're in Excel, just click, and I'm going to hold the shift key down and select the bottom one in the row, and we have 1100 or 11,823 pixels. Now you want to account for the 11 pixels that are here, take them off, go ahead, but that by its very nature, he's got 11,800 pixels in his show. Not a massive show. It's still a really big show, but it's not some of the node counts that we're we commonly seeing more and more now today. So this is one of the nice things you can tell. It does help to have this information. Light count. Okay, light count is kind of the same thing. Now, if you want to know how many light bulbs are in each one of these fixtures, now the pixels, it's simple. Here's how many pixels you have. But what about your AC props? You can also add those in there. So you can see in this instance, it's the exact same thing. The only difference is these are channel based. This would be individual light bulb based. So now if you wanted to say how many lights are in your display, as opposed to pixels, now you can sit there and say, hey, I've got 12,460 lights in my show this year. So that's a nice little function that's in there for you to be able to determine. And then we have estimated current amps. Now there is a little bit of setup that needs to be done whenever it comes to making sure that this comes out a little bit or more accurate. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab one of those arches. Grab an arch, doesn't matter which one. And what we can do is we can come down here and we can look at in the model setup, we can kind of go through here and look at some of the different properties. And we might be able to change the like the voltage, or we might be able to go in and let's see, I'm really not sure. I really haven't messed around with this part very much, but you got ports, you got pixel size and location. Tag color. Well, I don't see a place that you can immediately go in and change the voltage on that. What if I right click? Wiring view, custom. Let's see. This wasn't one of the things I wanted to look up real quick. Restore. Nope. What if we go into the model dialog? Because it is a custom model. No, it's not a custom model. Lights per node. in any event, xLights does have a function that allows you to change that. I'm not sure exactly. I haven't used it. I really haven't tried to utilize xLights for that function, but that is built into that. We can dive into that a little bit later. That's something I could bring up in another class, in other words. So we have channels per node. What is channels per node? Well, back, I want to say a couple years ago, maybe 10 years ago, there was the option to have different types of strip lights or strip pixels and pixel modules. And some modules had 4 LEDs in them. Some modules or some strips had 3 LEDs per pixel. And so whenever you looked at that strip, you'd see it was like the pixel wasn't a single bulb, it was 3 LEDs and it looked rectangular. So not a bad thing by any stretch, but you could go into here and you could set your models up with how many pixels or nodes. See how it says nodes per arch and lights per node. You could change that to accurately depict your specific prop. If your prop had, let's say, it was a 16 by 50 megatree using the strips, it was 16 feet tall, and it had 50 pixels tall, but each of those pixels had 3 LED nodes. That's what this would equate to. Oh, excuse me, I said channels. Pardon me, I explained the wrong thing. Channels per node is different. So each node in this instance, the arch has 1 node, and 1 node would be 3 channels. So that's breaking it down for you. I totally went off on a tangent. Excuse me there, pardon me. So anyway, channel count. Just to get into the channel count, basically this calculates the total number of channels that you're going to use in order to populate this prop onto your show layout. In the earlier days, when we were much more concerned about applying the correct channels to the correct controller, it was important for us to know exactly how many channels we needed to assign per each one of those controllers. So you can see here, this would have been helpful for use back then. Now with the auto layouts, with xLights' ability with auto layouts, maybe this isn't as relevant, but if you're still using, let's say, one of the older controllers and you don't have xLights auto layout set up for that controller, you might be able to come in here and you might find it useful to say, hey, I have a total of this many nodes. They're stacked together. How many pixels do I need to put in on the controller, assigned to that controller? And this is a very quick way for you to group them up and then come down here at the bottom and say, oh, look, I have 600 pixels. I need to make sure I assign that to my controllers. Now, the next few bits of information, there's a lot of information in here. And again, a lot of this may not be as relevant to you now today because of the way that things have been updated in xLights, but it's still relevant and useful to be able to go into here and look. You have a start channel for your prop. So what you can do is you can set a start channel. And in this instance, if we look at back at the beginning, this is arch number 1. It says the start channel is the controller number 192.168.1.135, channel 210:1. So that's universe 210:1 is channel 1. And so that's basically going to be the start channel for this prop. Now, if there's another prop that is set as a follow along or chained to, if a model is chained to something, it would appear as such, where it has a greater than sign beside it, and it says the name of the prop that is channeled after it with 1:1. And that means arch 1-1, excuse me, that is :1 channel. What it means is take arch channel or arch number 1-1, add 1 channel to it, and that's my starting channel. And that's how xLights sees whenever you're chaining models together on, and this is, again, the old way to do this, but it also shows you the logical progression of all of the information that's built into your layout whenever you've got it. Now, in a more modern form, is going to say, this is on controller number, blah, 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 output. And that's probably what's going to show up here. I don't believe his layout's been upgraded to auto layout because I don't think it needed to be. Okay, so if if you are all new to xLights, or if you're getting started with xLights, one of the important things that you may never learn is that xLights is actually built on a system of specific numbers, and each prop is given these specific numbers. It's a universal number, and it's not universal in the sense that everything has it. It's universal meaning you have a assigned number for that prop, and that prop starts at a number, and the number of pixels it takes is how many channels it gets, and then at the end of it, the next model starts. Now, if we said earlier, we have these chains, so this model starts at channel number 7200 533, and it ends at 7200 682, and we added one into it. So this universal number counting, we don't refer to it very much anymore, but it's there, and it's the way that xLights has everything set up. Whenever you click over and we look at, if we go over here to our controllers, you can see these are this is what's considered the universe ID. It starts at universe 1, which universes don't matter inherently. But what happens is if you go back into the layout and you look at, COM1, we'll get off of that, universe 7 through 18. I can't remember exactly what that was for. Let's see. We can get more into that in a little bit. But suffice to say that the universal number that we're using here, this is your number that is located over here where it says start channel, and you can see right here, this is where the information is being derived from. So we call this absolute channeling. Absolute channeling is whenever you take the number 1 and you apply a model to it, and it gets the number 1. The first model gets the first number 1, and then it goes from number 1 to, let's say this pixel is 3 channels a piece for a pixel, and then you have this model has 150 channels. Now you have this model being channel number 1 through 150, and then if you stack them one on top of another, that's the way xLights would preferably see the data that's going out to the controller. Again, we don't use it very much anymore, but it's there. So this is another way to see data. Now, for the people who have been in the hobby for a while, we used universe and start channels. So you'd have a universe number and a channel that you would start at. Now, a lot of that isn't as relevant now because we have the auto map, or the auto layout configuration or auto controller configuration. So what you see here is the way we used to do it, and it's a little bit more confusing if you're not familiar with what universes are. So we're past the point of being able to need to know what these are for. If you do utilize these, it's a lot of what the commercial lighting industry, a lot of the larger jobs, they're used to using universe IDs and starts. xLights has gone above and beyond to kind of make that go away so that it's not as hard for the user. And then obviously you have an end channel. Now the end channel is your start channel plus your number of total current channels in the prop and added together, and that gives you your end channel. And then you can obviously figure out what your start channel would be from your end channel at the end of a prop. It'd be that plus 1, which is that :1 right there. So next we have what's called the default buffer width and height. So what is a buffer? We've asked this question a number of times in a number of our classes that we've done. The buffer is the area that surrounds a prop. So when we look at different props have different buffer sizes. So when xLights sees this 50 by 1, xLights is looking at an arch and it says, oh, an arch is an arch. An arch is basically a straight line. It is literally 50 pixels wide by 1 pixel tall. And we know this because if we look at them, excuse me, there we go. Oh, let me get out of 3D. I'll make it a little easier. There we go. If we look at them, they are nothing more than an individual straight line with a curvature to them. Now we have functions in xLights that kind of help us because we can sequence it as if it's an arch, meaning this shape where it goes up to the top, it's down here at the bottom and then comes up to the middle of the peak. You can sequence it that way where it goes from bottom to top or top to bottom, but you have to change your render style because xLights sees this model as a 50 wide by only 1 pixel. The xLights only thinks the pixel is, or the model is this tall, when in reality, it's a lot taller. So this is what the buffer is. The buffer is built around the model, and you can have a preview buffer or you can have the standard buffer. Now, if we go through some of these, you'll find them rather interesting. You see this 60 by 1, that's a door. And now the door to his house, let's say, is right here. Right here's his door, his front door. And you look at this door and it looks like, well, it's a polyline. Well, a polyline is nothing more than a straight line with a number of clicks put directly in place where they need to go, with the number of pixels counted out between each of the segments. But xLights will still always see it mostly as the default of one straight line, 1 pixel tall. However many pixels long, 1 pixel tall. Now, that doesn't mean you can't change your render style and do a per preview render and change the effects to make it look a certain way to go up and down and side to side. xLights will do that. It just sees it as this buffer. So if you're ever curious to what a buffer looks like, this is the kind of thing that it looks like. This is how xLights sees this. So another one, let me find another one here that's a little different now. So we had, let's see, back to over here. Right here was our nodes, and we had a 77 by 1. We have, let's see, a 53 by 7. So this is the icicles on the lower roof. So it says it's 53 by 7. So let's go look at the icicles on the lower roof. That would probably be these. That's another polyline. So by width, 53 wide by 7 tall. So xLights automatically sees this as a what's considered as a matrix because xLights sees the height, but it also, first it sees the width and then it sees the height. So I think that's an interesting way to kind of see how xLights physically sees it. But now it sees it, it doesn't see it as the curved line that you see, it sees it as a straight line. And whenever I say a straight line, it's like this line that's right here from this side right here over. Now, obviously, again, we can change our render style. And when we render an effect over it, we can do it per the model, per preview. And it can go up and down and left and right. And the bars effect or the single strand effect will start at the top and it'll go up and down, or it'll go left and right, just like any other regular model or custom model. So again, something helpful maybe you didn't know. Preview. So what is the preview? Preview means, and in xLights we have this wonderful little addition here. If we go back and let's just click on any model, it doesn't really matter. xLights has a preview model or a preview screen that is called default. Now, you can come in here and you can add different previews. The default preview is the one that we utilize to run our props in 3D. Now, this is important because at the moment, unless something's changed, the default preview is the only preview you can see 3D in. So if you add another preview here, it's not going to be to turn out into 3D. It's going to be into a 2D form factor. So, but you can add these. You can create as many new ones as you like. But the default preview is where everything defaults to. It always shows in the default, unless you come over to the model like I've selected here. See how it says preview? If you add another preview, you certainly can. You can select the preview that you want that model to show in. So it's nice because if you have, let's say, 2 sides of the house and you don't want to deal with 3D effects in xLights or 3D layout in xLights, you can go to the second preview, the left side of my house, and you can take all the models that belong on the left side of your house and set them up over there so that it looks correct. And you can do the same thing with the right side of your house. Let's say you've got a whole block to yourself, and you can do both sides of your house or whatever. So that's just another way, a function that xLights works and gives you some kind of additional interesting information. The previews are available. It shows where the previews are. So if you're missing a model, you may have accidentally moved the model from here, let's say, and you may have changed it to unassigned, and it would disappear off of your default. But if you went to your unassigned models, then you could zoom out and you could say, oh, there it is, I found it, but I didn't move it, so we'll just go back. So let's go ahead and move along. You have, let's see, controller ports. Controller ports, this kind of is a basic way to think about how you're going to connect your props up to the controller. This is the basic way that you would get how and where you would wire things. What's nice about this is it tells you, okay, for example, these 4 arches, arch number 1, 2, 3, arch 1-1 through arch 1-4, those are our top 4 items. They're all going on to the 21st output of this specific Falcon controller. These 4 models here, these arches are going to go on port 22. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 are going to go on the 3rd, and then these last 4 arches are going to go on the 4th port. I believe that's a receiver going to the Falcon. It's on a differential. So then over here, we have ones that say 0. It's not going on anything. Well, what the heck is up with that? You know, what does that mean? And basically what that means is this is an AC model. We kind of skipped over this. The channel count, well, we talked about the channel count and we talked about the node counts, but we didn't talk about the, we talked about the node count, but we didn't talk about the channel count. Usually an AC channel is only 1 channel. So we've only got 1 channel assigned, and we've given it start channel number in number 26. And then you have 27, 28, 29. Then these ones are 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. So that's a way for you to kind of see the difference between having a custom model that's an AC prop and a regular model that is not set up with a controller port. xLights doesn't see the LOR controller. It just knows that it's going out and it uses DMX. All it knows is that it's only going to 1 port and it's going to get the data. Next, we have a connection protocol. And so many of you are familiar with the WS2811s, 2812s, and so forth and so forth. These pixels use a protocol to communicate with the controller. The controller can send data to them. Well, if you happen to have pixels that are, let's say, using the 9813 or the other, what seems like 10s or 20s of different protocols, there are differences in protocols in xLights. If it's available in xLights to select it and your controller can do it, usually xLights can upload that data or that information. Now that is found, let's show you right here, whenever we come into a, where are you at? Right here. So once you assign it to a port, you're given the option here to give it a protocol. So xLights has a nice long list of these different functions. Now there's more than these. This isn't the only list, but these are the ones that xLights is able or most likely going to be able to upload for you. And so you can assign it here ahead of time. Or if yours is a little different, you may have to manually change it on your own controller. So that might be something you have to deal with. So we have connection attributes. That looks like something that might be something that you fill in. Not sure. I haven't really utilized that before. So we'll keep rolling. It's not used in this. Oh, brightness. Well, that makes a lot more sense. So brightness. What is brightness? If everybody has been doing the show for any given amount of time, it's possible that you have adjusted your brightness to be a certain specific number. In this instance, the brightness is set to 40% for the spiral trees. Let's go over there and look at them. There's one of them little guys right there. And if we come over here to our controller connection, we see set brightness. We have a checkbox here and it's set to 40. So that there is an option. I believe this is in the land before we started being able to upload the brightness to the controllers. I believe that his controllers were all manually configured to be at like 30 or 40%. Next is the controller name. Well, where does the controller name come from? Well, you have to pre-program your controllers in the controller tab with a description if you choose, or a name. And you can do that by selecting the controller, and you can come over here and you can give it a physical name. So in this instance, this fellow's controller is a spiral tree controller, and that's so he knows exactly what area of the yard for him to put it in. He has what he calls palm trees 1, 2, and 3. Hey, that's this palm tree controller 1, palm tree controller 2. So he utilizes those as well. So that's a nice little helpful thing. If you're out in the yard, you have this on your phone, you can quickly scroll back and forth and utilize this. And we have a controller type. So obviously, if you're using some of the main controllers that are available today, you can apply a vendor-specific controller to it. This one's main yard. This is a Falcon F16 V3 with 2 expansion boards. So that way he can upload all of the data to it. And you can see here's Falcon F16 V3, 2 expansion boards. And he's got a couple of those through his show. Next is the protocol. So we're familiar with E131. E131 is nothing more than the data protocol that's used to send data from the xLights or the show player out to the controllers. The controller takes the E131, usually through and from a network, it converts it into data that the controller can read, and the controller can then output the lights to the connected strings that are on that board. Now, what about DMX? Well, DMX is a little bit different. DMX is not E131, it's E111, E1.11. And DMX has probably been the standard in the lighting industry for a number of years. I'm not an expert at it, but it works exactly the same. The difference is that it utilizes a 3-pin cable to typically run from your controller device, your show playing device, out to your controller, and the controller would then take that data. Instead of via network cable, it's using an XLR cable, and that XLR cable carries the data over as opposed to your network cable. So E131 is nothing more than the data that runs to your controllers via network wire. DMX is the same stuff, only it can go through an XLR cable typically. Now, that doesn't mean you can't use a network cable for DMX. That's a whole nother ball of wax, something I don't want to really dive into in tonight's class. But so far, we've got through quite a bit. There's a lot to this. We'll go ahead. We're almost done with this one, so we'll just finish up real quick. We've got controller number 2, controller number 1, controller number 3. What's this saying? This is our controller description. So where's the controller description found? Well, that is right here. These descriptions, if there's something left blank, then that's why you see a couple blank spots. So this may or may not be filled out for you. This is just another descriptor in the lines to help whoever it is setting up. You can name it whatever it is that your heart desires. Then next you have the IP address of that specific controller. So hey, if I come down here and I click on this line here and I go over, this says matrix left. Well, if we go over to matrix left and we look at the controller, that's going to get connected to the controller that says 192.168.1.134. So if you're like me, I have a controller box. I usually use a nice label printer, and I print my IP address on the box, or I open up the box and right onto the board, I'll put a sticker or a label with my IP address for that controller. That way I don't have to look at the screen. I can just walk by the controller out in the yard. It's there for me to just kind of quickly glance over, and then it shouldn't be an issue. BAUD, baud rate. I don't know if that's pronounced correctly or not, but baud rate usually deals with the speed at which data, DMX typically, runs from your controller out into, at least I hope this is correct, it runs from your controller or from your show player out into your controller, and the speed at which the controller can chat with it. Sometimes it has to be faster, sometimes it has to be slower. It depends on the adapter. Usually you have to fiddle with that number to get it to work the right way. Sometimes you do, not always, but usually it configures itself, or you might have to make adjustments manually. But baud rate, it usually deals with a COM port, which is a USB device in his case. And this comes out of his USB device on his computer, and it goes out through his network cable from that USB device. Universe IDs. So universe IDs are, let's see, this is 210, this is 212, 216. This one says 138. Well, these are the universes that are attached to these props. So if we go back over here and we look at these different controllers, we know that these controllers right here, 192.168.1.134, we can look it up over here, 134. It's highlighted there. It has universe number 137 is among one of the universe IDs that this controller is outputting to. And you can see from universe 100 to 146, you can see that that channel is definitely covered in that batch of or block of channels that are applied to that universe. Is that super helpful for you? I'm not sure if it is or not. This is probably just the data that was attached, and they included it on the export. And then you have your universe channels. So universe 1, or channel 1, that is, excuse me. You have your universe ID, universe 138, channel 1. This is how the prop was channeled in xLights. So xLights was hard-coded for this specific model and prop. This obviously isn't a more modern example where the channels are already laid out for you via the auto layouts and so forth. And then you have the controller channel. I believe this is the absolute channel that they're using, which we talked about earlier. And are they inactive or active? And what is active? So something many people might not utilize anymore. If you select a controller, you can deactivate a controller. You can make it inactive, and you can activate it if it's inactive. And why would you deactivate a controller? Well, let's say that you are trying to determine what the problem is with your network. Why isn't data going out good? It's kind of sloppy, or it's not keeping up. Maybe what you need to do is, maybe if you right-click and deactivate as you're doing your testing, you might be able to deactivate and test the other controllers to see if that controller is causing the issue. So that's one thing you could do. Another thing you could do is say, hey, I'm not going to use this controller this year, but I don't want to take it out on my show. I'm just going to leave it here, and I'm going to leave all the props assigned to it. And I might want to just deactivate it, right-click, deactivate, or inactive, and it stays there. xLights won't output data to it, so it renders the data, but it won't output the data to it. So it kind of streamlines the data in the FSEQ file as xLights creates it. At least that's what I believe. I'm pretty sure that that's how that works out. So I know that's a rather long explanation, but this is one heck of a file that was created a number of years ago. This is a fantastic example of taking the data that is built inside xLights. And why is this important? There's a lot of importance for this, right? So you can sit there and you can look at a glance, at a number of glances after you've gotten used to using the spreadsheet. You can find the things that you're looking for. I mean, mostly what people want to know is how many pixels are in my show. That's the big one. So that's obviously there. You're able to find that rather quickly. That's the quickest thing that I would use this for. So to finish up, I just want to switch over real quick. I'm going to open up.
Hey, Clyde,
hey, what's up?
could you show us a couple of the sheets down there on that spreadsheet, that like the one that says totals or controller?
So down here, you want to see a couple of the.
Yeah. No, like the sheets. Yeah, right there.
Oh, there's a lot of information. I wasn't going to go through all of this. This would definitely add some time in. This does do a excuse me, forgive me for not adding this in. This does show a little bit more information whenever it comes to groups. When it comes to groups, typically, without having to go into xLights, you can use the CSV file for this. You can have all your groups set up here, and you can select a group, and typically right here, I'm sorry, you can select a model. And the model right here, if you hover over it here, it says in these groups. So this wreath happens to be in this wreath, or the submodels happen to be in all of these different groups that are shown. And so what xLights will do is it'll extrapolate that data out. Thank you for reminding me. That this will definitely kind of break it all down for you. It'll say all display has these groups in it. Your all house group has these in it. Your all roof has these models in it. Your all yard has these. Your arches, here's your arches group. There's two groups that are similar. We left one alone because it was dealt with some old sequencing. We added some new groups, so it was a little easier for them to map their sequences. We have the bow group. And so all of the submodel bows are all in there. You have a column matricy group. You have the two matrix left and right of the garage and so forth. So this really breaks down your groups and tells you what exactly is in each group. As helpful or as helpful as it needs to be, it's there for you to reference. Then down here you have the controllers. This is, and again, we talked about the absolute channel. There are some unnamed, it says unnamed controller, but there's 112 channels that are given to this unnamed controller. And this unnamed controller is using DMX, and it's on COM3, and it's using a baud rate of 250,000. And it starts with universe 1, and it has 112 channels. So it starts with absolute channel number 1 through absolute channel number 112. If we go to the spiral trees, that's the next thing on the list. You see spiral trees go from start channel 113 absolute up to the absolute number of 6,232. And you can see the universes that are applied to it and the channels that are applied to it. So those are some a little bit more of the in-depth information. It shows you the IP address that they're connected to, and any of the other information that is necessary, which you probably learned from the other page. But this is probably, I would say, the controller page is close to what we would have been. This was a rather important part of setting up your show circa 2015, when xLights didn't have universe channels in it. Or, well, it did, but you were used to xLights in its original absolute channeling. xLights 3.0 is what I'm referring to. And then the final page is here's your totals, your model count, total models in your show, total group count, your first used channel, your last used channel, your actual used channel, and your number of bulbs. So again, thank you for reminding me. I should have followed up with that. I want to scoot over to the next thing, which I opened up a sequence. Now, the other option that we wanted to talk about tonight, and I really didn't think we were going to run this long, but I should have only made it for the one, but we'll do the other. We have this export effects. Now, the export effects is just another option. We'll go ahead and we'll save this as 2022 Candy Cane Lane Sia. That's the name of the sequence. We'll go ahead and click save, and we'll go back over into our folder, and it's going to show up here as a Microsoft Excel CSV. I always screw that up. It's either CVS or I guess it's not the what do you call it? It's not the chain store where what do you call that? The drug store, the drug chain store. So why am I taking you through an Excel spreadsheet for a sequence? Well, there's some rather interesting things that you can kind of pick up on here that might be helpful if you're trying to understand what's going on in a sequence. For example, this tells you all of the models that have effects, the effect name. Here's it says the effect name. You have snowflakes. You have start time, end time, and duration. And we have some other descriptors over here. Let me just expand these. And what you'll see here is we have, we have, well, let's do the shader. The shader, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to show you this. I utilize shaders. These are some of the shaders that you can find online. They're available. But what's nice is if you're missing a shader, this is going to tell you where it should be in your computer. And if it's not there, it will help you kind of, you know, hey, I'm missing this specific shader. Now, when you open the sequence and it's missing, it might tell you the same thing. It might pop up and say, hey, shader for this effect is missing, but it doesn't tell you exact time, the start and the end time of the effect, and how long the effect is. So that's kind of nice information. Hey, look at the 2-minute mark. You get this pop-up notification when you open the sequence that says, hey, I opened the sequence and, you know, let me close this and get a laptop. I opened the sequence, little box will pop up right here, we'll say, and it will say missing shader file for shader effect. And so xLights won't render it. So if you pop out one of these tools and export effects, you could also do a check sequence. But if you do an export effects, really easily, you can go and find out what exactly you're looking for. Now, in this instance, he only has this one effect here that it looks like there might be a couple other. There wasn't a lot of images or this. In this instance, this is a PNG. This is a pictures using the picture effect, and it tells you exactly when it starts. So if you're looking for something and it's not in, let's say, the lost folder in the zip file that you downloaded or that was shared with you, then this will tell you what file you're looking for. And then maybe you might have to get in touch with somebody. So we've had this happen before. Hey, I am missing, I have See a Candy Cane Lane. I have the Pro Layout version, and I imported it, and I'm missing this specific PNG file, this candycane.png. Can you send me that? And I can say, hold on just a moment, and I can pop over into my computer and pull it up, look for it, and find it, and then be able to send it back to you if it's missing. And then I get to go fix it on the website, because, you know, if you didn't get it when you downloaded, that means I need to go re-render that, package it up, and refix it. So there is a lot of good information in here. If you want to learn more, you can start reading a little bit more about it. For example, this is a shader that was used. This is a number of shaders that were used here. This is looks like a video effect there. So there's the name of the video, the tree swirl 1ld.avi. You have a GIF file, Santa GIF file, and used for your pictures effect, and that was used at this specific time period. So if we look for a picture effect at the 1 minute and 54 second time period, let's 1 minute and 54 seconds. Let's zoom into that, and then we can go visually scroll up and down and see if we can find a picture effect. Look at that. So now, obviously, it's going to find it. It didn't show as red. Where is my little picture here? There we go. There's a little Santa Claus just popping across his screens there. And you can see that the picture effect is there. So that's one of the nice things about these two specific files. There's a lot of data packed into them. And I think that if you're looking or you're having a hard time, especially with the sequence, this might be something that you might use. There is also, I will say this, we'll go into the windows. So Scott did make this, view windows, and there is this effects search box, effect dropper, house preview, effect assist, select effects. That's the one. So this box here would also serve the kind of the same purpose. You could scroll up and down here and find, let's say, a video effect, and here are the places in the sequence to which you can find. That's a video file right there, and here's a palm tree. On the palm trees at this specific time, it looks like there is a video file there as well. And then you have one on the column matrices, one there. That's a video file that was created, and something there as well. So there's that for your searching for effects. But if you're curious to specifically see and be able to quickly find it and to know exactly what should be attached to it, this is a way to look it up too. So if you have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and open this up to doing a couple questions. Let's see. Make this a little bigger. We have, Alex said tools, the totals tab, and that was what we talked about. And Norm, Sherry the Eagle is awesome. So that's,
You want me to turn the live off, Clyde?
if anybody has any questions that they want to share before we go off Facebook Live, a huge thank you to everybody for joining us. I know this might have been kind of rudimentary or older information, but also still relevant. So if you have any questions, by all means, join us in the Zoom room. Just jump on in here. If Rob's going to let you go and drop you off for the night. Thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll see you next video. Thank you very much. Oh, the search effect too.